It's filling out.
I know. It's good to see you.
Right, yeah. I'm not. Hey, what's up, guys? You didn't meet it. Running a bet? Running a bet? Yeah, I was over at the, well, we should fight. Yeah, I'll take it. My daughter came from
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Barkley. Here. Bates.
Here.
Kimbrell. Here. Patterson. Here. Resterholz.
Here. Good. If everyone could please stand, remove your bonnet, Smith, if you have one. Coach Drummond, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We, the people of Colorado, with profound reverence for the supreme ruler of the universe, in order to form a more independent and perfect government, establish justice, ensure tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish the Constitution for the state of Colorado. If we could have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Have a seat, please. Okay. Looking for a motion to approve for approval of this agenda?
President Bates?
Yes, sir.
Could I have a point of privilege?
You may.
Before you vote to approve the agenda, I'd like to recommend that you swap 4A and 7A. That's Academic Awards Night, recognition and student recognition. We have a number of guests here, and rather than making them sit through a lot more agenda time, if we swap the two, they could take off when they'd like.
Okay. Do I have a motion to switch those?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Barkley. Aye. Bates.
Aye.
Kimbrell. Aye. Patterson. Aye. And Resterholz.
Aye. Okay.
To approve the agenda as amended.
And now I'd like to get a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Barkley. Aye. Bates.
Aye.
Kimbrell. Aye. Patterson. Aye. Resterholz.
Aye. All right, good. Well, that being said, I appreciate that. We won't keep these guys here all night. That being said, we want to recognize a number of athletics, and it's been and is a very good year. I'd like to first start with soccer. Coach Schubert, could you either introduce, maybe all you guys with him could just stand up and introduce yourselves, and then we'll go further on. You want to start here, or you want to introduce them?
Start there.
Go ahead.
I'm James Urban.
James. Okay.
I'm Tevin James.
Tevin. All All right.
Kip Schubert, head coach.
Kip Wiley, assistant. Miles Wiley. Noah Magistrelli.
And we want to thank you all for coming here tonight. It's pretty special, some of the things that are taking place in school. The Woodland Park High School boys soccer team, led by head coach Kip Schubert, earned the title of Tri-Peaks League champions and have made history by becoming the first team in its program history to advance to the playoffs. Congratulations. Good job, guys. You had a wonderful season.
Thank you.
Next item, cheer. The cheer competition team has taken first place in their first two competitions of the season. Congratulations to the cheer team. Okay, next up, cross country. 8 runners competed in the state championships. The girls team finished 8th in 3A, moving up 4 spots from last year, while Joseph Begley represented the boys as its sole qualifier with a strong 47th place finish in 3A. The team also had 4 runners earn All-State honorable mentions: Joseph Begley, Nora Kikluna, I might have really butchered that, Landry Prawl, and Olivia Starr. Congratulations. Okay, on to football. The Woodland Park Middle School football team finished their regular season undefeated and earned the title of Tri-League champions. Football, high school football. Coaches, if you could stand up as Coach Cantrell, Coach Larson, and Coach Drummond, the head coach. The Woodland Park High School football team completed a historic regular season, achieving something the program hasn't accomplished in 20 years. This season has been the program's best since 2005, when the Panthers finished 7-3. With their win over La Junta in the season finale, the Panthers are now undefeated and have won the first league title since 2000. Adding to the excitement, head coach Chad Drummond was recently named the Denver Broncos Coach of the Week, and the entire team was recognized as KOAA's Athletes of the Week. Congratulations. Hey guys, what did we say? No acting up back there in the second row. Okay, moving on. Golf. Golf finished 28th in the 3A rankings. Marshall McAfee excelled, placing 122 out of over 500 golfers. That's quite an accomplishment. The softball team had an improved season, finishing 34th and narrowly missing the playoffs by just .033 points. The team is celebrating several outstanding individual achievements. Christine Renteria was named Tri-Peaks 2 Player of the Year and earned All-State honorable mention. Destiny Coran, A.D. Hughes, Christine Renteria, and Riley Schoendaler received first-team All-League honors, and Austin DeFabio and Molly Miller received All-League honorable mentions. Good job. And volleyball. Volleyball had a great season with 8 top performers across various categories. Under activities, the marching band placed 2nd at Southern Regionals and finished 11th in the state. Honor Choir, 38 students auditioned for the Western Slope Honor Choir Festival. Forensic and Debate, Woodland Park High School hosted the annual Pikes Peak Invitational Home Tournament on November 2nd, and the team delivered an outstanding performance. First place in duo interpretation, Felicia Langenfeld and Emma Hanna. 4th place in duo interpretation, Kevin West and Eden Piwa. And fifth place in poetry, Elena Starr. Congratulations, then. And, you know, a big congratulations to all of our schools and their athletic and activities performance. It's been a great year. We appreciate all you students and we appreciate you coaches. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, moving on.
Can I say thank you for the incredible flagpole?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. It is so gorgeous. That is how that stadium should look. Thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. Been a lot of comments on that flagpole.
It is beautiful. Thank you. Have a beautiful night.
You too. Okay, next up, public comment. Please be aware that any personnel or individual student matters are considered confidential under Colorado law, and it is out of respect of the law and our employees and students that we require those discussions take place privately, in executive session. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes or a total of 15 minutes total for a particular topic. The intent of public comment is to give the Board of Education the opportunity to hear your comments. However, the board will make no decision or take no action on public comment during the meeting. With that, we got some public comment.
Mr. Holtz dropped the call.
Oh, love technology. Can you hear us now?
Mr. Holtz? Can you hear us? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So,
We're running ragged tonight.
Joni Miller.
Good evening.
A group of community members, parents, and local businesses came together to show our appreciation for the hard work and dedication of our WPSD teachers. We created discount cards from local businesses in Woodland Park and delivered them with cookies to all 4 schools. Unfortunately, the cards were taken from each office by the district and never approved due to a submission policy. When I asked for the cards back, I was told the district no longer had them. In other words, they were thrown away. Fortunately, we have extras and we are getting more printed. To ensure our teachers still receive the intended appreciation, we've partnered with Sheath in Woodland Park. Teachers and staff are welcome to pick up a discount card at Sheath, next to Sherwin-Williams. Sheath will offer a free gift when you go in to get your card. Teachers and staff, if you're listening, please share this information with your colleagues. We at Tufts and the Woodland Park community deeply value your contributions to our children's education. Thank you for the time to speak.
Dana Kramer.
Hello, my name is Dana Kramer, a parent in the district. I'm here to talk about some curious things I noticed amongst the District Accountability Committee member appointments. I believe by the end of this, you will see that some DAC representatives may need to be removed because their appointments violate Colorado Revised Statute 2211-301 or the Woodland Park DAC Handbook. Page 4 of our Woodland Park DAC Handbook says that state law requires that a parent must be chair or co-chair of the DAC. On the contrary, the law this statement was taken from Colorado Revised Statute 2211-301 says, the members of each school district accountability committee shall select from among the parent representatives serving on the committee a member to serve as chair or co-chair of the committee. Not just any parent on DAC, someone who's assigned as a parent representative. Where this is problematic is Mike DeMuth, who's the chair of DAC, and Erin Hellstrom, who's the co-chair of DAC, are both community representatives. A community rep, according to page 16 of the Woodland Park DAC handbook, is defined as one resident in the community who is not a parent or an employee of the district. Therefore, you cannot have two community reps as chair and co-chair because one has to be a parent rep and the community rep can't be a parent. Mike DeMuth is both a parent and an employee. Mr. DeMuth was hired this school year to be the culinary arts teacher at Merritt Academy. According to state statute, a parent shall not be eligible to serve on a school DAC if he or she is employed by or is a relative of a person who is employed by the school district, including being employed at a public school of the school district. Merritt Academy is a public school of the school district. This disqualifies Mike DeMuth from being on DAC. It also disqualifies Rachel Priest from being on DAC, seeing as she is a Merritt employee who is assigned to the Merritt parent rep position. Neither indicated on their applications that they were employees in the district. I encourage you to recognize Merritt Academy as a public school and an equal to the rest of our schools. I have seen a list of applicants for SAC and DAC, and the wonderful thing is that you had 47 plus applicants and only 29 spots to fill. 2 were filled by PTO members that did not apply. That leaves 27 spots to fill with 47 applicants. 8 non-parents who qualify to be community reps applied. 5 are unassigned. At least 1 Merritt parent applied who is not an employee and she was not assigned. You have options and do not need to resort to staff. Accountability committees are in place to make sure school districts are following their policies and the laws. When the committee itself violates the law and district policies, then that needs to be taken very seriously. Thank you.
Wesley Shaw.
Good evening. I'm a parent of a freshman at Woodland Park High School. The middle school was a disaster, and the district refused to instill critical life skills into our kids. Not a single class had a deadline for assignments. Your children could have 40 missing assignments, yet still come out with straight A's and at the top of their class. Sure, this might look good on paper, but the devil's always beneath the surface. You can teach prioritization at home, but when the school doesn't care and your kids spent over half their day at school, we now have a conflict of interest. The middle school certainly didn't prepare the kids for high school. Now we're in the high school, and we find out that the kids still don't have deadlines for assignments. All kids are given a 2-week grace period on assignments and test for full credit. Not only that, but you allow the kids to redo all of the assignments if turned in on time. It's pathetic, and at this point, I'm convinced that my child will not be prepared for college or adulthood with their lack of accountability at school. The worst part is that even the 2-week grace period, many teachers don't follow that policy and allow children to redo assignments outside of the grace periods simply because their grades are struggling. I had one teacher this week go in and increase the kids' grades without any reasoning behind it and no explanation. You guys should be ashamed for not holding our children accountable for their efforts and doing everything in your power to produce good grades when not deserved. Failure is how people learn from their mistakes. But if you're giving every kid a trophy and keeping them from failing, failure wouldn't happen if you gave kids learning tools, but you can't even do that. Let me give you a perfect example from math. And I bring up math since you referred to test scores last month. I have the answer to all your problems. Give the kids a dang math book. Don't you think the first logical step to giving kids the tools necessary to succeed and producing good grades would be giving kids a math book? And you all heard it right. My freshman doesn't have a math book that even coincides with their course. I, as a parent, had to ask for one, and it doesn't even align with the curriculum being taught. The freshman curriculum being taught is called Mathematic, and it gets worse. Mathematic is a handout with practice problems. It's a piece of paper with questions but no answers. If your child struggles in math, the high school, at least the freshman, gives them 0 learning resources outside their lectures, and I've confirmed with all the administration and teachers. Now let's step into the lecture portion of class. The kids sit down for a 60-minute math class. Teacher hands them a paper with practice problems for a new lesson for the day. The teacher gives the kids 30 minutes to attempt the problem on their own. And at 30 minutes into the class is when the teacher starts actually teaching. And I can't make this up. They're expected to struggle, and I was told that this style of teaching produces critical thinking skills. Come on, guys, math is math and has been math for 100 years, and this model of teaching right here is why test scores are down significantly across the school, state, and nationally. Math belongs in a book, not on a computer. I brought up to my child's academic advisor the fact that my freshman does not know some basic multiplication. The response I got was, and I quote, "Reciting basic times tables is not a focus of high school math, and based on her testing of just below average in 8th grade standardized testing, she is more than capable of comprehending higher level concepts." This should answer all of your questions right here. To the school board, this is a perfect example at a fail point. My child scored average on standard testing, yet can't multiply and produce good change for a dollar
Are
consistently.
you almost done, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
The left hand isn't talking to the right, and it's clear. On top of this, you gotta split the freshmen up into different science courses based on their math test scores. Thanks for asking my permission to hold my child back. The high school has zero tutoring or after-school help available. And lastly, let's talk about conferences. It is truly tragic when 3 out of 5 teachers I spoke to said, and I quote, "My classroom is out of control, kids don't stop talking and create a negative learning environment for others." When I referenced how simple it is to send children to the office or similar, the response I got was that the administration had asked us not to kick kids out of our classroom since they have nowhere to go and they end up wandering the halls.
I can't give you any more time, Mr. Shaw.
My child has a C in one class, and the teacher stated that she was at the top of her class. And that doesn't look good, guys. It's pathetic that we're not disciplining our children in our schools and teaching them respect, accountability, and organization, and it's time for change.
I've given you some extra time here.
I challenge all of you parents to try and follow along how the kids' assignments are being graded. What I see at the school district is a complete disaster, and someone needs to start caring. And in case everyone cares, this is the full curriculum.
Give that to her.
Thank you. Thank you.
To Ms. Blake. We'll pass things out from board members in the meeting.
Carol Greenstreet.
The Oxford Dictionary.
Sorry.
It's okay. The Oxford Dictionary includes these 3 definitions for transparency. 1, the quality of allowing light to pass through so that objects behind can be distinctly seen. 2, the quality of being open to public scrutiny. 3, with reference to something dishonest or untrue, the quality of being easy to perceive or detect. I believe we all agree that transparency is important and builds trust. We don't always agree on what actions satisfy transparency. From my perspective, where this board falls short on transparency is their lack of public discussion about decisions and issues impacting our district. I've discussed transportation as a fiscal concern, both with you and in print. I want to use that as an example tonight. Initially, our district charter school did not receive the district service of transportation, which is common for charter schools due to the cost of this service. For the 23-24 school year, they were included in this service with the reasoning given because it doesn't require an extra stop. For the 24-25 school year, the superintendent indicated he was committed to continuing the service and informed the board that transportation was reimbursed by the state. However, the cost of the district is over $1 million. Recently, the CFO of our district charter school suggested transportation is covered by the students that the district receives funding for, but does not have due to declining enrollment. It seems like the story of why the charter school participates in this district service, but not its cost, keeps changing. Shouldn't this involve board discussion? The charter school CFO also implied they don't receive any of the 5-year average funding that the district receives for declining enrollment. They are a growing school, but if it's fair that they receive this, why don't they? If we continue to provide district services to the charter school without asking them to participate in the cost of those services, is that transparent? What is the limit? How many things can be reasoned into those declining enrollment funds? The CDE reasons the 5-year averaging provides allowances for districts that lose pupils from one year to the next, recognizing that these districts may have difficulty budgeting for fewer pupils. Is it the charter school who determines how those funds are spent? Is the greatest issue with declining enrollment transportation? Is this reasoning sustainable? Where does that money come from when we're no longer declining? Can this be cleaned up and become more transparent? Remember, every dime counts.
Thank you.
Victor Labraro.
Good evening. I'm a resident of Woodland Park, taxpayer actually. And I apologize I'm late in this, but I wanted to congratulate the school board, this school board, the Merit School Board, superintendent, the staff, the teachers, and the students for their scholastic achievements. Having lived here 28 years, this is the best I've ever seen, the school improve in that way. I also wanted to offer thanks to the citizens of Woodland Park who worked to keep the sales tax in place, who spent their time knocking on doors and talking to people to educate us about what was going on. One dark spot was that a disappointment in seeing that one of the school board members went to the city, who's an elected board, to determine the priorities for this elected body. Nevertheless, my expectation is that you'll work with the city and continue to deliver on the IGA agreement and the changes there. And that comes due in January. And then in that case, it sounds like from some of the readings I've read through for people who have researched the numbers, is that perhaps the school district will have much more detail than the Colorado Board of Education requires. And that'll be another good thing for our district. So thank you.
Thank you.
Gail Garrick.
The student academic increases are a good achievement. The credit goes to the teachers. It is not an achievement that should be given to a dysfunctional superintendent or board. They should not be able to hide behind this achievement. The words of a teacher should be repeated in public. The beginning of this school year has been at least 3 times harder than it should have been due to the incompetence of the Woodland Park District School Board and its top administrators. Decisions that have come down from the top unilaterally have caused ripple domino effects that leave those of us implementing them scrambling like worker ants, trying to make them function in real time. Things that should have been done, handled, anticipated were not. They got to the level of our top admin and stalled. This caused the people trying to make the beginning of the school year successful for concerned parents, inexperienced teachers and staff, and scared kids doing all they can to make things run smoothly. The staff and teachers have made the best of it, despite having board members and admin who don't care about the damage their irresponsible and short-sighted decisions have caused. The teacher says, I myself and other dedicated educational professionals that I have spoken to have experienced the lack of knowledge these people have firsthand. They don't even know what they don't know. They sit on their high perches looking down and thinking, quote, this is good, when they have no idea what we have to do to make it so. To give these people any credit for increase in Woodland Park School District test scores is insulting.
That's it. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. I'd like to ask for a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Barclay.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Kimbrell. Aye. Patterson.
Aye.
Ruster Holtz.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next item, discussion and information. Academic awards, academic award nights, student highlights. Mr. Witt?
As we celebrated our athletic achievements earlier, we'd also like to celebrate some academic achievements that were recognized this last week, but I'd like to recognize them here as well. Congratulations to our exceptional students who were recognized on October 14th for their outstanding academic achievements. These dedicated students earned honors for both the fall and spring semesters of the 2023-2024 school year, achieving a GPA of 3.75 or higher. We're very proud of those students for their hard work and commitment. Beta Club, the Woodland Park High School Beta Club inducted 15 new members on October 2nd. Beta Club is an honors program that recognizes and promotes leadership, service, and academic achievement among students in grades 9 through 12. The new members joined 25 active members, helping Woodland Park High School earn recognition as a National Beta School of Distinction this year, a title awarded to only the top 22% of Beta Clubs nationwide. Members of the Beta Club maintain a 3.5 GPA or higher and participate in numerous service projects throughout the year. For PSAT and SAT recognition, Woodland Park High School recently celebrated 80 9th through 11th grade students who scored 1,100 or higher on their 2023-24 PSATs and SATs. Of those 80 students, 32 achieved scores of 1,200 or above, which is outstanding. We just want to recognize our students, and I hope you'll all join me in a round of applause for the academic effort.
Thank you, Mr. Witt. Now, an enrollment update from Mr. Bay.
Mr. President, board members, this evening I'd like to give you kind of an update of a process that we call our October 1 count. And really what it is, the state of Colorado has its funding mechanism is really determined by the October 1 count. And what it truly means is we actually do take a count on October 1st, and 5 days before October 1st and 5 days after October 1st, they also look at that window just to make any adjustments that may be needed during that process. And so I wanted to kind of give you an update. In your packet, you should have had a 3-page document, and I'm breaking it down into a couple of different slides, which is really just giving you an overview by each of the academies, each of the schools that were reporting on the funding count. If you move to the first one, Aaron, on the summit. Next one, please.
It's not updating up there. One second. Oh, there it is.
Okay, just give you an overview and see if we make it a little bit bigger, but
No, it's
but to give you an overview, what we end up with is there's a bunch of information on here, but what truly counts for us is the number of students that we have on a full-time basis, which we had 252 full-time students. We also had 19 half-time students, which gave us a total FTE of 271 students in Summit Elementary School. Below there, they also give us a free lunch count and a reduced count. And how that impacts us is in the 1994 School Finance Act that's recently got updated, there's an at-risk component in there, and that's the measure of at-risk in the state of Colorado. So those two will become a percentage at some point in time of the total count that we have, and then it's determined where we're at within our at-risk, and that also impacts our funding totally for the school district. Let me move to the next one, please. Then if we look at Columbine, to give you an idea, the same thing in Columbine, we ended up with 288 full-time students. We had 0.5 or half of a half-time student giving us 288.5 FTE for Columbine Elementary School. Down below, we ended up with 95 students that have a free lunch. And also on the reduced side, we have 16 students that determine our overall at-risk for Columbine. If we move to the next one, we'll have Woodland Park Middle School. The middle school, we ended up with 193 students that were on a full-time basis, 1.5 students at a half-time basis. giving us a total FTE funded, full-time equivalent of 194.5 students. And you can see we also had 3 students that were 52 students, and there are also 5 students were at risk for the reduced side of it. And if we move to the high school, the high school gives us our largest numbers that we have, but we ended up with 482 students that were full-time and 2.5 students on a half-time basis, giving us a full-time equivalent of 484 students, 484.5 students that we get for the high school. Then at the at-risk side, you can see we ended up with 112 students on the free side of the lunch, and then also 9 students for the reduced side. That totals up, if you look, I almost forgot, we had 1 student, we had merit, and then we also have a district program. On merit, on the non-traditional side of the house, they ended up with 426 students on a full-time basis and 26 students on a half-time basis. They're at risk, they ended up with 90 students that are participating in the free lunch program, and then also 5 students on the reduced side. Then we'll move to the non-district program. We have 1 student that is being placed in district or programs that are outside of the district. And that brings us to a total, if we go to the next one. And this one's kind of a little hard to read, but what it is, it's a comparison of this year versus last year. And I'll give you a comparison. So on our full-time basis, we had this year 1,621 students. Last year, we had 1,763 students, which is a reduction of 122 students. On a half-time basis, we had 99 this year, 112 last year. And don't ask me why CD does this. It's actually, there's a 0.5 in there somewhere. That's why you're seeing it. It's at 13. But it gives you then we have some students that are not eligible. And in the full-time basis, we end up with 1,641 students versus the 163. You can see the total, and we end up with our total amount that we will get funded at, which is 1,691.5 students versus last year of 1,819 students. In essence, a reduction of 128.5 students. If we move to the next one, it'll give you a comparison. One of the things that we love to do in accounting is see what is the overall trend. And you can see the overall trend. This is a trend analysis over the last 5 years. So you can see where we have gone from, if we look at the total count, which is all of the pre-K students, half-time, full-time, we ended up with 1,844 students, of which we will be funded on a basis of 1,691 students. And our total at-risk population, which represents 27.1% of the population, of 499 students that are at risk. And you can see kind of where it rolled. We're actually in a decline, where in 2021, we had 1,900 total full-time equivalent students, where at this point in time, 5 years later, we have 1,691.5 that will be funded as well. Our at-risk is down just a little bit. It's kind of navigating up and down. Last year, we had an at-risk population of 34.3, where this year we have 27.1. So those factors, if we move to the next slide, it's kind of a little bit of how this impacts us is school finance in the state of Colorado is, you think it's simple, but it's not. This kind of gives you an idea of, just a difference between year over year where we're at. And the same thing, we have the traditional school being, we're all within one school district, as we said before, but we have the traditional side and non-traditional side. This is an overview that kind of shows you that depiction of us losing 127.5 students. We try to figure out where those students come from and then make the projection different. What the moral of the story is, not only from a projection standpoint, are we down as a district, we're also down within the 2 components being the traditional and non-traditional. Because even the charter school, in visiting with their CFO earlier this week, they had anticipated their numbers being a little bit higher than they were, and they were down as well. Then we'll move to the last item and somebody mentioned this earlier about the 5-year averaging. And I totally believe in it because what is said of the 5-year average, and it's been going on, I've been involved with school finance since 1990 in one way or another, and it started probably in 1993, 94. When the School Finance Act came in, it actually was official that they did this because you used to have to apply for it. But now, what it is considered is a soft landing. It allows you time to make those adjustments within your budget with not having a cliff where you actually just go out the cliff and have to fund that the very next year. So in that you can see, and this gives you a basis of how it's calculated. It actually gets taken, the funded, remember we talked about the full-time equivalent? It's the full-time equivalent that we get funded that gets averaged. And they take that average that year times the numbers that are listed below. And you can see it gets offset a little bit. And I wanted to share this depiction for you because in fiscal year 23, which would be in 22-23, we were funded at a rate of $10,279.53 per student. Yet in the fiscal year budget 25, we will be funded nearly almost $1,000 more at $11,243.12. So that, in its sense, offsets a little bit of that reduction in students as well. Now, there's one last component, and within that, what I'll do in the office and the finance team will do is we'll look at that and determine with one other component. The state in December usually makes the adjustments of the entire governor's budget and may allocate additional funds to school finance as well. I think I've only seen two times in 30-some years that it actually is either negative or zero. Most of the time it's a positive number. Sometimes it's very small, but we'll get an indication here within the next 30 days of what that will be. And then we'll bring back to you a revised budget in January. Any questions?
If I may, I'd just like to make a couple of points, things that you said that I'd like to clarify just a little on, if you don't mind. First was, you mentioned that students participating in free and reduced lunch. In Colorado now, we do participate in the free food for all program. So none of our students, all of our students have a free lunch, just to be clear. But they still account for this category of free and reduced lunch.
Yes.
So all of our students are receiving a free lunch. And then the second thing is, you mentioned that the charter school enrollment was down, but it's not down year over year.
Yes.
It's down for projection. In the rest of the conversation, he was talking about year over year. They are not down year over year. They're up year over year.
Yes, that is correct. If I recall what it is, last year they were at 398.5 FTE students, and this year they're at 452. But their projection was actually down what they had projected it to be. Appreciate that, Superintendent Witt. Any questions on school finance and student count? I'll stay up here for the audit date update too.
Next time.
Yes.
Well, can I, sorry, not necessarily a question for you, but around student count. So obviously we have lost a significant number of students district-wide this past year, 128 or 129, depending on what column you're looking at, is basically a full grade level that we've lost. And I think it would be a good idea for us to send out basically exit surveys to the families who've pulled their kids out to figure out what it was about the district that they didn't like. So we can address those directly to prevent any more loss going forward. Because although we will have a soft landing, if this continues, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And rather than us up here at the district level trying to guess why people are leaving, I think it's smarter and faster just to ask them why they left so we can address it head on.
Thank you. I mean, this is a trend now, and it has been for quite some time. And, you know, people are taking advantage of other opportunities. Homeschooling has gone up. And it would be a good idea to know why that is taking place. Unfortunately, we're in a trend that has gone on a while, and I'm afraid it's going to continue to take place. Thank you.
It has continued, but it's also changed a bit, at least up here. Traditionally, it was mostly the high school students who were opting out, and we've seen a large increase in elementary students that are opting out of the district, and it'd be interesting to see why.
Yeah, I think if I can make a comment, one of the interesting trends that's happened since COVID happened, and I had been involved with not only a different district, but also a charter school in my previous stint in education. And since COVID's happened, there are some very unique trends that are beginning to happen with that. And a lot of districts are seeing the same thing, not only Woodland Park, but I know there's an awful lot of them throughout the state of Colorado are seeing the same trend.
Thank you. A couple of notes. Sure. As I'm sure you're all aware, you can see the news as well. Denver's announced the closure of a significant number of schools. Jeffco has announced the closure of a substantial number of schools. Statewide enrollment is down, and there are a number of factors, but you can follow the trends because they're all there. The local private school in town's enrollment is not down, it's up substantially. The charter school in town's enrollment is not down, it's up substantially. We've decided to focus on academics in this district and get back to the practice of educating children and eliminating a lot of the distractions. In all honesty, some people like the distractions, so some of them will leave too. All of those things occur, and the question is, number one, are we in fact doing a good job educating students? Because that's our mission. And the answer is we have solid evidence that we are. And number two, do we in fact see that parents are able to find the program that they want their children in? And yes, they are. We see them moving around within the district and moving them around between districts. What we've also did is we did a survey of this district versus Manitou Springs because they're nearby and there were claims of student exodus there. The flow in and out was roughly equal last year. So we will continue to follow those trends, but we do recognize both some national and some local trends that account for a lot of the movement.
Yeah, that's true, but I think it's smart to actually ask the people who left why they left so we can address the issues that are affecting us here in Woodland Park. Because I'd like to think they're probably different here in Woodland Park than they are up in Denver. It's a different group of people who choose to live here than live up in Denver. And so the issues that are driving them to make changes are going to be different. And it doesn't make sense for us to guess at why. We need to make sure we're not losing more students. And the best way to do that is to ask them why so we can address those issues head on.
Mr. Bates, this is David.
Yes.
I thought at one point we were doing exit interviews whenever possible several years ago, but I agree. I think that, many businesses do exit interviews with employees, and I think it would be very valuable if we had a formal process that we went through to determine why parents are pulling their kids out of the school, where they're taking them, and I'm not suggesting all of the questions, but it would be interesting to see what those reasons are. It could be at this point, we could all speculate on what it might be. Sometimes I'm not sure why people are leaving when we've gone from a school that is in the bottom third of the state of Colorado in performance to the top 10% now. But, we always can improve. And I think that if we humbly ask these people why, parents, why they're moving their kids to other schools, it could be quite valuable, at least for reflection on what we can do better, because we can always do better.
Just to add a little detail, because a couple of people have asked, what do we do here? Yes, we do track every student that moves to another school district. We have to track where they went, reason given, but how formal the interview process is depends a lot on who the family is and whether or not they choose to provide information.
Could I ask a favor of everyone? I know that it's kind of my fault that I'm not there, but if you could speak into your microphone, I'd be able to hear better. And I only caught a little bit of what you said, Mr. Witt.
We do track where students go, what district they end up in, whether they've dropped out in the dropout case, where they enroll in the enrollment case. We do get some information about reason given. Sometimes, I don't know that we get it every time, but we will look into what information we are capable of gathering and see if we can't pull some information together.
Is this something we could have a work session on? So that we could come up with questions that would be helpful for us, help us make decisions on what programs are most important to the families here?
I think I just heard tonight that this used to take place more formally. I think we need to look into that and get that boilerplate thing, and then we've got something to discuss. It's a new idea, it's not a bad idea, but there's got to be something out there that we could take and improve on rather than just starting from scratch.
Yeah, I don't think we need to start from scratch.
I think it's also getting the parents to respond, because I know a parent that had to leave after their child died unexpectedly, and they went back to live with their parents, and they bought a house in a different state. And she texted me and was like, oh yeah, the school district keeps calling me and asking me, you know, we're coming. And she just, I don't know if she responded. I know she was in between. So I would be curious to see if parents are even responding or when they're reaching out. And if, I mean, you can't force parents to respond to that information, but I do know that you guys were tracking if they were transferred and if they respond to those.
Yeah, but I think that's a slightly different case, right? That was, it seems like
extreme
the student
case.
was actually enrolled and then didn't show up, so the school was asking, hey, why didn't this enrolled
I
student?
think it was like in between summer, so I don't know if they were enrolled or not, and it was just a lot going on, and
Yeah, that's very different than sending out like an
Absolutely.
email survey monkey type thing that says, hey, we noticed you left.
And
What are the
trusting if they
reasons
even
that led you
respond.
to it? Yeah, but you have to send it to
You have
see
to
if they'll
respond.
respond first, yeah.
I think she was getting calls possibly, but I'm not for sure. I can ask.
Yeah, but I think that's a different thing than what I'm talking about.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Bay, you're on to phase 2 here.
Yes, phase 2 audit update. Over the last several weeks, let's roll it back a little bit. We were scheduled to have our on-site audit during the week of the evacuations, the fire evacuations. So ultimately, we ended up having to postpone that activity. And then one of the other issues that augmented the delay in us getting our on-site visit, because we could have rescheduled it, but we found out that our trial balance, due to an error rolling, and not our error, being the district's, being our vendor, which is our program called Alio, which we utilize to do that. There was a glitch in how it actually recorded the rollover of last year to this year, subsequently causing things to appear to be out of balance that weren't out of balance. And so we subsequently, over the last 2 weeks of working feverishly with Alio and some folks there, we have got that taken care of. And now we're, as of today, sent all the information out up through the portal to our audit firm, Holting, and we will be scheduling our on-site visit with them. I've been speaking with Chris Banta, which is our representative that we have from Holting, and giving him an update almost every other day. I spoke with him just previously prior to coming to the meeting, and we'll schedule when our tests will be, as far as obviously what they do is they do testing, sampling of certain types of funds, certain type of activity, whether it be revenue, whether it be expenses. So we're going to go through that process of selecting that. We'll provide them an information, and then he'll schedule his time to come back on to do what he calls his field work, and then we'll move on from there. We still hopefully anticipate getting it completed as quickly as possible by the end of December. And so we're going to shoot for that, but I just wanted to give you that update. I'm feel a little bit more happy now that we actually found what the issue was that was causing the problem, such that as we begin to roll forward from this year to next year, even though we're going to be doing a different system, we're still going to have to utilize that system as a legacy history. So I want to make sure that it's wrapped up the right way.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any questions?
Do you have any dates on, I know you said end of December, but I see a couple, 6 steps. Do we have any dates for any of them?
Yeah, we're
Sorry.
almost done. What we've done is we have provided, there's quite a bit of data that we have to provide them. We've actually uploaded it to the portal. So they've had access to that. So it's not that we haven't been doing things, it's just they've been doing a lot of their activities at their office. And so in lieu of them coming up and making the selections, and then we provided data, we just said, well, let's do it this way. Provide me the information, we'll get it all ready for you, and then come up. But I would anticipate, Chris and I spoke a little bit about it, of them, next week, we're trying to get them on site if we can. Obviously, the week after, we have the Thanksgiving break, but we would schedule them very much right after that. And usually that'd take a couple of days. Once they get done with their testing, then we'd roll into our financial statements to get those done. And then we'll be writing our management discussion information as well at the same time. So I would anticipate, I'm not sure what the date of our next board meeting is, getting it completed by then, but definitely by the January one, we'll actually have it done.
Second Wednesday, December.
Thank you, Mr. Bay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Saul, you are up.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and chat with you about some of the facilities stuff we've been doing. So updates, as you heard earlier, we have a new flagpole up by the football field. I've got a picture, so if anyone hasn't seen it, show it to you. We've gotten lots of compliments and hosting a couple of these postseason games. It meant a lot to our teams, to our coaches, and to our athletic department to be able to represent the district well. It's been huge boom. Purple Heart sign, back in August, or September, we did the presentation with the Purple Heart sign designating Woodland Park School District as a part of the Purple Heart community. We are currently working to be recognized on the website for the Purple Heart Trail. It's just takes time to respond, go back and forth. And so we're still in the process of that. The gentleman who was here that did the presentation has helped start to kick that off. And we'll let you know once we actually get updated on the website. The sign is out front in front of Gateway. And so you can see it. We actually had 2 signs. They only give us 1, but we had a donor who helped provide a second sign so we can see it from both sides. But that's up. I've got a sign or a picture here I can show you of that as well if you haven't seen it. Gateway usage. We are currently using Gateway as a testing facility for our secondary campus. They've been utilizing that on and off all year, and they're going to continue to do so throughout the year because of some of the testing requirements that I just say, yeah, you can use the building. They need to make sure that they've got certain students there and certain students who aren't there whenever the testing is going on. This also provides them the opportunity to have a smaller, more controlled environment during weekend testing. They can bring other people in. So this is how we've been able to utilize it so far. We've had a couple of staff who have done just a remarkable job really investing their time and getting it set up so that they could run the testing there at Gateway. And they've been very appreciative of having this space that's dedicated to testing, so they don't have to keep setting up the high school and then going back and flip-flopping it. Wi-Fi at Columbine and Summit Portables. I know there's been it's been a process. We ordered equipment back over the summer through delays. I think we talked about this previously, but through some of the delays and the equipment, it took a long time to get here. We got Summit set up, only partially set up at Columbine. As of yesterday, all of the equipment is installed and we have Wi-Fi at all of the portables. So we are good to go. All of the students have it now. I appreciate the partnership with our tech company that helped order all of the equipment and all of their patience and me hammering them with emails and phone calls saying, when is it getting here? When is it getting here? When is it getting here? I know there was a comment I heard earlier today that there were students sitting in hallways at Columbine for Wi-Fi. We checked with the principal, that is not the case. She said the only time she's seen 6th graders in the hallway was doing small group readings with their primary students. So I think that was some conflation of issues. And then the PA conversion at Columbine and Summit, equipment was ordered, partially installed. They're going to finish that up the week of Thanksgiving. We have them on the schedule, and then we'll get all of the PA equipment set up in both Gateway and Summit. Not on here, but I'm also excited about is remove servers that will also go in over Thanksgiving break. We've had some connectivity.
Can you talk into the microphone just a little more? I'm catching almost all of it you're saying, but not quite the end of your sentences.
I also have a question. You mentioned PA conversion. You said Gateway. I think you meant Columbine, correct?
Yes, I did. Sorry. Thank you. Columbine and Summit. I lost where I was. Oh, the servers. So we've had some connectivity issues. The servers that we have were out. They should have been replaced a few years ago, and we were able to get some new technology that will also help us with our data recovery plan. And so my tech team, Mr. Parnell over here, is going to be working feverishly over Thanksgiving break to make sure those get up and running. So once we come back in December, we'll be all set and running, and we'll have some brand new servers, run everything swimmingly well. Here's our flagpole up at the field, the stadium. There's the Purple Heart sign.
Back up to the flagpole for a second, if you wouldn't mind.
There's the flagpole back into the stadium.
Notice it in relation to the field sign, the goalpost, just to give some sense of, it's a very tall, prominent flagpole now.
With a big flag, it's wonderful.
I heard some concerns as we were getting this up. We were hosting a couple games late in the season, and where we had the flag previously, we had the flagpole attached to the visitor side bleachers, which caused a lot of issues for our visiting teams when they got up to do the national anthem and they're not sure where to go. That is no longer an issue.
Thank you.
The Purple Heart sign. And any other questions?
So we are 100% on Wi-Fi in the district now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And then my follow-up question for the PA systems, that includes having PA systems out in the portables?
Yes, I believe.
Because they don't
so.
right now.
Not a lot of the PA system is working right now, and once that gets resolved, they should have PAs in the portables.
Okay, so after Thanksgiving, they'll have PAs in the portables?
That is my understanding. We did the schematic, including the portables. So unless we have some issues with the equipment like we had with the Wi-Fi, which we will get buttoned up as quickly as we can, but that's through the install process and when they hook everything up. So.
I couldn't quite hear what you were saying, but was the question about the portables at Columbine, is that what the question was about Wi-Fi being in the portables?
The question was about the PA system being heard in the portables at Columbine.
The answer is.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm not sure if I'm butting in here or not, but I understand that there is currently no Wi-Fi service in the portables at Columbine. Is that accurate?
That is not accurate. We have Wi-Fi at the portables at Columbine and at Summit. The last part of the install happened yesterday.
Okay, but before yesterday, was there Wi-Fi there?
There was Wi-Fi in one of the two portables at Columbine on Monday.
The reason I'm pushing this is because I want to address something that was on social media and what some parents talked to me about. So the concern was this, and I'm just asking the question so that we can clear this up one way or the other. That there are actually 6th grade students who are having to go and sit on the floor in the hallways inside Columbine to get internet access to do assignments. I don't know why else they might be sitting on the floor in the hallways in the Columbine, but first of all,
Mr. Westerholz, let me just stop you here because we've already addressed that. And apparently that never took place. Evidently you couldn't hear, but that was covered pretty well. And to our knowledge, no one was ever sitting in the hallway to be able to get Wi-Fi coverage. There may have been an activity going on out there that someone misunderstood, but there is Wi-Fi. There is Wi-Fi throughout the district now that is up and operational. So does that clarify your question?
sure, that answers my question perfectly. I just can't hear, Nick, when you're talking, I can hear you as clearly as can be because you're talking into your microphone. And I just wanted to I know it's my own fault because I'm not there, I'm doing stuff. But anyway, I appreciate you, stopping and repeating that for me, and I apologize that it's already been discussed.
I apologize. I'll try to make sure I'm in the mic more.
Okay, so a lot of these updates seem to be completed or almost completed. Will we be hearing about a list of updates or future projects that we'll be working on for facilities or anything that you can speak to of now, or is that something I need to wait until another meeting?
I would ask that we wait for another meeting. We had to, there are some ongoing changes. Our facilities director was just telling me that we have some potential boiler issues at one of the schools that we might have to start investing in. And so what the existing plan is today for kind of how we're moving forward with facilities is likely going to change in the next week or two as we get more information. So because this is fairly new, that we have some fairly large expenses that we're trying to navigate, I would ask if we could wait on some of the future looking stuff for another couple of meetings so that we can better understand what that outlay is going to be.
Okay.
That's appropriate.
I have one additional question. I know I heard you talking a little bit about it earlier, but I want to give you the opportunity to let the community at large know. Obviously, there have been a lot of questions and concerns over leaks in the various buildings, Summit, Columbine, the portables, where kids are ducking buckets and there's quote unquote sludge. I just want to give you the opportunity to address those issues.
Thank you. I apologize. I told you I would talk about it and I totally forgot to put it on my slide. So thank you for the opportunity to speak to this. Anytime we have large storms like what we just went through, we always have new leaks that come up in the roofs. Our roofs are old and they need to be replaced. We're talking $10 million plus that it's going to cost to really re-roof all of our buildings right now. And so we're having to go through and patch stuff. The patches we have done up till now are holding really well. We did a lot of patchwork over the summer here in the high school. And so most of those were taken care of. We've got a few minor ones that we're still trying to get through. We think one of them is actually coming through one of our HVAC units up on the roof. And so we're working with the manufacturer to get additional covers for that to make sure that we can stop that. So it's an ongoing process. The one that I heard actually was at Summit this morning, and there's a new one there. It's one, I was talking to one of the employees who's been there over a decade, and she said this has never been a leak before. And it's one that is coming up prominently in the community as far as conversation goes. Unfortunately, we can't go up and track down where those leaks are originating to be able to patch them until all the snow melts off. We have at some places 3-foot snow drifts still up on the roofs. So we have to wait for the snow to melt so we can pull the rocks back. The rocks are holding down the sheeting, pull the rocks back so we can really investigate where these are coming from. It's on our list and we're going to get up there as soon as we can. It just takes some time with the weather.
Thank you for that, Aaron.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item, an action item. Calendar revision. Ms. Slocum, please.
Evening, everyone. Before I start with the first action item, I just want to give you a little FYI about a date for high school graduation. So typically, high school graduation is on a Saturday. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware, and I confirmed this with the high school again today. Graduation this year will be on Friday, May 23rd at 10 a.m. And this is the teacher work day. This gives all of the teachers across the district the opportunity to come and watch graduation, which I know teachers often from elementary schools want to come and watch as well. So it's a nice opportunity for our teachers to come on a contract day. So that's just for your information. And now I'm going to start with the first action item. So if you look at the 2024-2025 calendar, and you find February 14th, and you'll notice that it's shaded a lovely color of blue. So what we are proposing here, this is a parent-teacher conference day. I believe currently it's kindergarten through 8th grade. We would like to give the opportunity for all parents, kindergarten through 12th grade, to come to conferences. And then the high school will be on remote that day because we always have to watch the high school minutes. So that's the proposal for the change for the 2024-2025 calendar. Go ahead.
So my question, obviously we've had several days of closures already this year between the crazy snowstorm and then the fire the week before. How many days do we have built into the calendar for those types of events before we have to add days back?
So Candace and I keep track of that together, and we actually talked about it with our leadership team today. So as of right now, because the secondary campus has been on remote, they haven't lost any minutes. And elementary still has 5 more days. And so we've talked about being proactive. If we if we hit a lot of bad weather coming up, we will talk as a leadership team and create a plan for elementary. But at this point, we are planning to keep the secondary campus on remote as needed to make sure that we're not losing the minutes.
Obviously you haven't quite planned for that, but would you anticipate that being, if we have to add days back for like the elementary school at the end of the year or in
What we would do
March
is
break?
we actually talked today with the elementary principals, and we've done this in the past before, where we will make a snow day packet and possibly send them home like the start of second semester if we needed to. And they would have their core subjects in there, and that would be kept someplace for that exact opportunity if they needed it.
Any other questions? Is that it?
That is all for the
Okay.
2024-2025 calendar.
Right.
Motion to approve the calendar, adjustment.
Do I have a
Change.
second?
second?
Roll call.
Barclay.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Kimbrough. Aye. Patterson.
Aye.
Ruster-Holtz.
Aye.
Okay, next, I need a motion to approve the draft.
Yes. Second calendar.
Oh, that's correct.
Okay, so the second action item here is to review the 2025-2026 calendar as well as the 2026-2027 calendars. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about these two calendars. These are based on the traditional calendar of which we group vacation days together instead of spreading them apart. This calendar, or these two calendars, were based off of the 2023-2024 calendar. So we tried to keep that same theme going.
Any questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Barclay.
Okay, I just have one question before we go through that, sorry. I understand we're kind of repeating what we've done this past year and the year before. Have we done any outreach to the community to make sure that this process works for the parents having, for their kids being home at, weeks, chunks at a time for the parents that are working? Is that better than the spread out?
We actually did an extensive survey when we switched to this model,
Mhm.
presented parent feedback on both
Could you
sides.
speak into your microphone, everyone, please?
Sorry. I was asking if we had surveyed about this calendar model to make sure that it's working for the family, since it's, slightly different than a maybe more traditional
And-
model would be.
And we did that survey of
Oh,
all.
good, because that was my question as well.
We did that survey, as you'll recall, when we adopted the new calendar model, presented parent survey feedback on both models, exact counts, and a pretty thorough research exercise. We had been on the other model for a while, then we switched to the new model.
Mhm.
We'd been on the new model for a while, then we switched back to this model after having done that research. So yes, we've gone through that exercise, and that's how we decided last year to switch to the new model.
So our last survey was
Okay,
about a
so
year.
parents have been surveyed,
2
and
years, because it's for.
what is the feeling among the staff and teachers as well? Because my original concern when I was really pushing about this a few years ago was single parents. how on earth do single parents cope with all this time off during the week and maintain a job? Or any parents maintain a job? So, you know, I want to make sure that that was taken into account, consideration, and discussed with parents or surveyed.
Yeah, to be clear, this doesn't add time off. It just combines a couple of the weeks off in a more traditional calendar, so spreading them out more.
Because with a lot of the single parents, they were having weeks off almost monthly, and so we were getting a lot of feedback on that, especially after COVID. So it's very split within the district.
We do also have childcare at the two elementary schools now, and I believe that happens during the breaks. Is that right, Mr. Salt? Yeah. So there are some opportunities that we're providing as well to support some of those families.
And just to add to that, I know during the fire, a lot of that service was free for the students to go in. Is that the case during breaks, or is that on the parents to find the funding when the school is closed?
That's correct, because it's planned. We were trying to be very thoughtful because the fire was very unexpected.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Hartley,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Kimbrell. Aye. Patterson. Aye. Westerholz.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next item, board reports. Has anyone got a board report?
I do.
Okay.
So while we are in this spirit of congratulating students, we had a parent message us about a situation that they wanted to call out a congratulation to the students that were involved. So I'm just gonna kind of read this here. So back in October, there was a student who suffered a pretty serious seizure in the hallway outside of the Panther Academy. And the seizure went on for about 30 minutes. And the staff, obviously came out and the EMS was called. So kudos to the school and staff for taking care of that the way they should. But the parent wanted to bring attention to the exemplary behavior, was her words, displayed by the Panther Academy students during this situation. She called out how kind they were, how much concern they showed for the student who was in distress, and how they were able to kind of keep their composure and stay calm in a very stressful situation. And these are students who don't necessarily get these kind of call outs and often are seen in a different light. So I just wanted to call out and congratulate them for their behavior and the way they handled the situation and help them. And I do want to call out that the student who suffered the seizure was recovering well, at least at the time that I received the email. So
That was very encouraging that these young people had the wherewithal to conduct themselves that way. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't always that way. When I was a little kid, we were leaving church and this person had a seizure out there in the narthex. And when I walked by, there was a Bible stuck in his mouth. Well, they did that so he didn't swallow his tongue. But I thought the guy was crazy. He was trying to eat his Bible. So I probably didn't handle that as well as I possibly could have. Too much information, I know. Okay, anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Bates, I would. First of all, I want to thank the Board of Education for their patience with me in my absences, and I'd like to just briefly, without detail, explain to people in Woodland Park and the Board of Education that my mother has been going through some health challenges, and I have needed to travel and spend time with her while she's going through these things. And I would like to ask also tomorrow that she's undergoing some surgery, and I would appreciate your prayers for her going through that. It is quite challenging at this time. So that's why I haven't been there the last couple months. And believe me, I want to be back home. The next thing I would like to say is I'd like to thank the voters of the Woodland Park School District for overwhelmingly voting in favor of supporting our students and our teachers by continuing the sales tax funding for our district. This was a vitally important thing, and if you listen to the city council meeting last Thursday, it was an interesting meeting during public comment, to say the least. I would also want to thank Mr. Bates and Mr. Witt and many others for all the hard work that they did in meeting and surpassing all the requests of the Woodland Park City Council in posting our budget in transparent and in a timely manner. So in light of that, I would also like to publicly urge our city council to follow our school district's lead in a timely and transparent public reporting of the city's budget and spending. So there's a lot of things to be thankful for since the election this last week, and I look forward to a successful school year and future of this great republic that we live in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Westerholz. Okay, anyone else? Okay, there being no other comment, ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'd just like to thank Cassie which begun it. The veteran celebration was amazing. Our teachers and our students are such patriots, and they gave the veterans the respect that they deserved, and they were proud to do that. And my hat's off to the administration and the teachers and all the students. And on my way out, we were instructed to go talk to one of the veterans. So I did. There was a table of 4 veterans, and I had my badge on, and a Vietnam vet asked me, "Do you work at the school?" And I said, "I'm on the board." And tears started to run down his face, and he said that was the best taps that he has ever heard in his career.
That's true.
That was very good. That
And
was
his
touching.
name is Carl. So,
Oh, Carl, yeah, I did talk to Carl. I know who you're talking
so
about.
I'm so proud, and I was honored to be there, and thank you for putting that on.
It was a great event, and I ended up talking to a veteran that was in the Korean War, and so my grandfather-in-law also is still alive. They're in their 90s. So anyone's usually in the Korean War in their 90s, and he drove from Colorado Springs because he had heard about our program to come visit, and he was very much in tears. There was a lot of people in tears, and so it was a wonderful performance. But not only that, with the choir and the band, but the student council and the kids that spoke, they were great. I even saw one of the parents of the kids that he was talking about his father. I looked back and his dad was in tears. So
It was very well put together, and it was a blessing to see these veterans there taking it all in, because I thought it was very well put together. Sorry, Sue, I didn't know you were still going. Anything
Thank
else? All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
A second.
Second.
Roll call.
Barkley.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Kimball.
Aye.
Patterson.
Aye.
Westerholz.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.
I know it's been a long day already. How many minutes?